バトルパワーは4330か。邪神秒殺金龍剣は。
Before I gush over this week's episode, there is one thing that I wanted to say kind of right off the bat, you know, because I loved the episode and I thought I overused the word, but it was incredible. It just really was. But here's the one thing that I was a little disappointed of is, you know, they made the whole Princess Rose, you know, Aurelia stuff. They made the Princess Rose stuff like really hypertension. What I mean is like they really raised the stakes with everything that went on, right? With her simply, you know, kind of like after the dungeon thing that they looked at, you know, she kind of got overtaken by like this red stuff essentially, and you know, it's either driving her, manipulating her, or there's something going on there, right? So they drove that home with her being overcome by this, which is seemingly why she's grabbing her chest, which is why Beta, you know, made it a note that, you know, hey, when she was, you know, her shadows are following her, and as they're following her, they made a note like, oh, she's consistently grabbing her chest. So there's something, you know, there. And they also made it a point to where last week they ended on like a cliffhanger with like saying, oh, Rose, you know, stabbed or killed her fiance or whatever, and now she's on the run. So like they made that, and the episode then ends. This episode 16. Then also ends with Rose continuing to flee and, you know, not killing anybody, but, you know, she's avoiding people's vitals, but definitely putting in the work, you know what I mean, as she's kind of like evading and running away from them for a while, too, during the sewer system. So, you know, the point that I'm making here is I wanted to see more of Rose, and I'm not mad in any way with what we got. I thought this episode was incredible, but I did kind of want to see, you know, because they built us up for that. I wanted to see this episode be that, and then they could have, you know, given us a flashback. They could have just, you know, then done the Bushin festival stuff. I personally feel, and I personally thought. Again, I'm not mad at the way they did it. It's just, you know, I had this appetite, this appetite that went unsatiated this week by wanting to see more of this Princess Rose stuff. And we got maybe 3 instances of it at the beginning, when Alexia and Beta were talking, and then at the end. But for the most part, that's really like all we got, and I want to see a little bit more of it. So I'm hoping, and crossing fingers, that next week's episode we get more focus on Rose and what the hell Cid's gonna do about her, essentially. So that's what I'm really hoping. So we'll see. Now let's talk about the rest of the episode. So the rest of the episode was incredible, and also too, let me ask you guys this. You know, if anybody knows the translation stuff, the translation that I watched, they keep calling this person that Rose did whatever. They keep calling him Mr. Asshat, Mr. Perv Asshat. And I'm assuming that's not his actual name. I'm assuming that, you know, they called him Lord Perv, Mr. Asshat. I'm assuming that's just a translation thing to be funny. But what's his actual name? If you guys can let me know in the comments. But essentially, you know, we had the Princess Rose stuff. We had Alexia, who's catching on that, you know, Beta really isn't this innocent, delicate flower. She's kind of really catching on. And I love how Alexia is very sharp in that way. She's a big old idiot, but at the same time, she's really sharp in that way, too. So she's really catching on. And that's kind of why she's trying to push Beta's buttons a little bit, you know? So I really like their interaction that they had there, too. The tournament then continues, so we get put back at the Bushin Festival tournament, and we had an amazing interaction between Cid and this new character called Beatrix. Beatrix, and essentially she looks just like Alpha, and she says something very specific here, and she said that she's looking for her late sister's daughter, which is hinting the fact that that's Alpha. Now this lady, this person is gorgeous, and Cid was able to recognize that. And what's funny is because of all the stuff that's happening with Rose, Cid was like, oh, I need to find me another person, you know, to kind of like play this character with. Rose was that. He's like, if she's on the run, he's like, I gotta find someone else, which I'm hoping he just deals with Rose. But, you know, I like how then Beatrix came into the thing. And what was funny about that is she was like, I can smell elf on you. And I was like, God damn, you can smell elf? And I thought that was a really cool thing. She then goes to test him, and he plays the background character. He falls during their sword stuff. She's like, oh, I thought you were stronger, blah, blah, blah. I thought their interaction was crazy, but I really want to know more about her and her relation to Alpha. And I like how he was thinking, like, do I say something? Do I not? He's like, no, that's my girl. I'm not going to say anything. So I like that he did that as well. Then we have all of the, so that in itself, them alluding to this bigger arching thing of Alpha and this Beatrix person, like them alluding to that, amazing, right? This amazing, like little they dangled a little carrot for us. I'm like, I'm trying to go and get it, just like, like Sid does. Then we move on to the next part, which was all about the Bushin festival and the Mundane Man, which is Sid's alternate ego at this point. And I love Anne Rose at this point with her little neck cracking stuff and everything. So they basically show Mundane Man win two matches, one against Goldie, where he basically made this Goldie guy think that he died, which it was like, I was like, damn, Sid, he did him dirty. And then he slow pulls out his sword. Then this dude does like some dragon and he sneezes. I was like, god damn, I laughed so much during the sneeze. Caught me off guard. So I thought that was hilarious. And Rose was picking apart, like her eyes are able to move just enough to catch a little glimpse of what Sid's doing over there. Then he fought her friend, and he was able to see it again. Then he has the moment that he's been waiting for. He has this Goku moment, right? He's like, Anne Rose goes to threaten him. He's like, this is it. This is my moment here as the Mundane Man. And he grabs his armor. He drops a couple of them, and they just like, poof. And he's like, do not threaten me. And then she goes in front of him. She's like, look what I can do. She cracks her neck. And he's like, I don't know what just happened. But I was dying during those moments. I love Anne Rose is awesome. She's hilarious. Unintentionally hilarious. But she cracked her neck. I thought that was just crazy. Then we see Princess Iris talking to this asshat guy who I'm a little confused because I'm like, is this the guy that Rose apparently killed or stabbed or whatever? And he's totally fine. And then this asshat dude also is controlling his king. He seems to be the king seems to be a zombie at this point, like a puppet. So he seems to just kind of be controlling his king. So it's like, what's going on there? So, like, did Rose really kill this guy? Did she really stab him? Is she really on the run? Do they really believe that he's dead, but he's not dead, but he's controlling the king? So I'm a little confused there, so I'm going to try and piece it together. I may rewatch the episode one more time just to try and really, like, kind of piece stuff together. But I thought when they were talking about everything with her fiance, I thought they were referring to this guy, but I might be a little confused there. So it might be someone else. It might not be him, but that is what I got from it. But he seems to be totally okay. So it's like, okay, well, why is she on the run then, if that's not the exchange that happened? But regardless, I will clear that up and we'll talk more about that during next week's episode. But, obviously playtime is over based on what Sid said. So overall, fantastic episode. A lot happened in this episode, a lot to absorb. And this is how you do a 16th episode, right? Another notch in its belt. So good. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. If you have nothing to say, drop an emoji just to say, hey, I was here. I would definitely appreciate it, and that'll definitely help the algorithm share this out to more people. But, of course, as always, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you guys next week for episode 17. Peace out.